Meanwhile, Kristaps Porzingis comes off the bench, scores 20 points, grabs 6 rebounds in just 21 minutes. Jason Tatum, 16 points, 11 boards. Boston with 6 players in double figures. They jump out to a 29-point lead in the first half while connecting on 16 three-pointers in this game. Chelsea, this team brought in Kristaps Porzingis during the offseason to help them make a title run, and at least after one game, it looks like it's paying off.
Yeah, Porzingis looks like the early MVP of the NBA Finals. And guess what his number was going into game one? 60-1.
Oh.
Porzingis was 60-1, 50-1. A little shorter, but still, he was not one of the favorites to win MVP. I think a lot of us questioned how he would respond coming off the injured list, and I think we got a resounding answer last night. He is what has made the Celtics offense on another level. And we've seen this offense all season long, and I knew eventually we would see it because statistically speaking, this was one of the best offenses that we've ever seen in the NBA. And I think the Mavs got a front row seat to that. So now it looks like the Celtics were already a juggernaut, and they added a piece that looks like the MVP. Boy, is it hard not to overreact after game one.
Yeah, it is. And this is the only thing I was afraid of because I would have been on the Mavericks as well. I talked about the Mavericks all week. I love the Mavericks plus the 6.5. It went down to 6, so money was coming in on Dallas. But there is a reason why that the Celtics have been prohibitive favorites for the entire season. In fact, favorites to win the title for the past 3 seasons. If they play this way, it looks like they're going to have a hard time being stopped by anyone. I will also say the Mavericks do have a lot of room for improvement. They did pull within 8 in the third quarter, but then Boston responded, an immediate 14-0 run. Luka, again, 30 points, 10 boards, 1 assist, but they've got to have more than Mavericks do from Kyrie Irving. 12 points, 6 of 19 shooting, 0 of 5 from long range. He really is the key, I feel like, in this series. If you're the Mavericks, he's got to do better.
Well, it wasn't even the shooting splits that was the most jarring part of his performance last night. It was the turnovers. He had some really bad turnovers last night. 3 turnovers and all, so maybe it doesn't jump off the page, but some of them, I don't know who he was throwing it to. I don't know if the boos got to him because you could hear it audibly. When he had the ball, the Celtics fans were booing him. But all in all, I don't think that there was anything that the Mavericks could really do. This is why you play 7 games. When there is a team that's just on fire, there's nothing you can do about it. So really, it doesn't matter if the Mavericks played poorly. It doesn't matter if they played well. The Celtics were going to win this game no matter what. We saw that in the first quarter. They scored 37 points. I think they ended the first quarter on a 23-4 run and never looked back. Like you said, things got a little interesting, at least for those of us who were betting on the spread when they pulled within 8. But this Celtics team is just so damn good. But Jenks, is there a case to be made to kind of pull Mavericks fans out of the dumps right now?
I think so. I just want to say, I laughed for a second. I wasn't laughing at you when you were talking about Kyrie Irving and you said the booze got to him. I was like, he's been drinking? Kyrie has before the finals? I was like, oh, the booze from the Celtics fans. I was like, Michael, get your head in the right place. I'm already ready for the weekend. Yeah, the good thing for the Mavs is that, look, you didn't spread the ball around. They've got to do a better job of that. They have to do a better job of not turning over the basketball. You talked about that as well, and they know it. They have to, as much as we focus on Luka and Kyrie, they have to get other guys involved, be it Derek Lively, be it P.J. Washington, because P.J. Washington is a perfect example of someone who's been great throughout the entire playoffs, and they have a head coach in Jason Kidd who is very good at making adjustments. I think you would feel much worse if you're Dallas, if you were at this point after game 1 and you played a really good game and it didn't matter. The Celtics were too good. Dallas just didn't look great. Plenty of room for improvement, and I do expect a better effort in game 2. Game 2, Sunday, 8 o'clock. Celtics lead the series 1-0 after last night's win. Celtics are laying 7.5. They're minus 275 on the money line. The Mavs are plus 220. The total set at 214 and a hook. And I really want to keep talking about money laundering, but I guess we'll make some bets on this show. What is your initial lean, even though we got a couple days here?
Well, I think this is the ultimate exercise in trying not to overreact. Part of betting is not overreacting to a 1-game sample size. We see it in the NFL. We see it in the NBA. We see it across all sports. Each game is its own handicap, and that's why we haven't seen the line really change that much. Like game one, the line was 6.5. Now it's 7.5. So it's moved a point, but still, the point still stands. So are you willing to trust that the Mavericks are going to have a better effort in this game? And are you willing to trust that the Celtics are not going to go ballistic from their offensive standpoint? Because I think that's the handicap.
Yeah.
Is in game one, the Mavericks didn't really stand a chance. It didn't really matter if they played a good game, because when the Celtics offense is firing on all cylinders, you're probably not going to beat them, especially with the output that we saw from Kristaps Porzingis, who kind of surprised us all by going, nuclear in the first quarter of this game, was an absolute force down low. So, Jenks, I think you're on the Mavericks here. So what's the case for the Mavericks rebounding after a disastrous game one?
Well, I think that's exactly the case, which is it was a disastrous game one. I would feel, to me, the worst losses, sort of, it depends on if it's your team or not, but the losses that are the most frustrating are when you play your best and you're still not good enough. Like, you just play lights out, you play an incredible, they're easier to maybe stomach. You say, look, we did everything we could, but they're also the ones that oftentimes are demoralizing because you say there's no room for improvement here. We can't play better than this. We maxed out and we still lost. That's not the case for Dallas here. Dallas did not play a good game. Part of that was the Celtics hot shooting from three-point land. Part of that was Kristaps Porzingis coming off the bench. Part of that was Kyrie Irving not shooting well and Dallas turning over the basketball. And a lot of it was Dallas just not passing the basketball. They held on to the basketball too much. They need to get other guys involved in that offense, whether it's Lively, whether it's Washington, whether it's Gafford, whoever it is. Because even though we focus on the superstars, we've seen a guy like P.J. Washington step up throughout the postseason and be an integral part of this Mavericks run. So if you're the Mavs, the case for Dallas in Game 2 is, A, they're getting 7.5 points. B, they've been awesome against the number on the road during the regular season and the playoffs. Not last night, clearly. But 3, Kyrie can absolutely shoot better. Jason Kidd can absolutely come up with a plan to defend Kristaps Porzingis coming off the bench because we haven't seen Kristaps in the postseason. So that's sort of an aspect that I'm not saying the Mavs didn't prepare for. They certainly knew he was going to play, but now that they've seen it and seen him in action, they can better prepare for that. And then they can do a better job defensively, maybe extending that defense and preventing the Celtics from shooting and hitting so many threes, even though that is Boston's game. There are a lot of ways the Mavericks can attack Game 2 and perform better. And so when they're getting 7.5 points, I think that's the case for Dallas, responding in a way that at the very least helps them cover the number. Here's the thing. I'm actually going to go Dodgers. And I know, it's like, dude, you're getting the Yankees at plus money. They've won 8 straight, haven't won 9 straight since late June of last year. So it's their longest winning streak in almost a couple seasons. But Yamamoto on the mound against Cody Poteet. Also Juan Soto out of the lineup for the Yankees. Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts going yard last night against the Pirates, so they're hitting well. I know Shohei's been in a bit of a slump. I think Shohei gets back on track against Cody Poteet. So I'm going to take Dodgers money line minus 120. The Yankees streak is going to come to an end at some point. Maybe tonight is the night.